everybody. Today we are not live. We have this interview with a dear friend of mine, a woman I've known for a good number of years now. Her name is Amy Shandick. She's a talented tattooer out of the Austin, Texas area. Kind of gonna love Amy if you like me at all because she's loud, she's opinionated, and she'll tell you where you stand. And sometimes that hurts, but for the most part, we love her for it. So this is Amy. Say hi.
Hello, everybody. We are out of Killeen, Texas. The shop name, there's multiple of them. We are Bangarang Tattooing Company, and the original name was Precisely Veil Tattoo, which is inside of that business. And as Mark said, I've known him for many, many years, been a tester of his products and I'll call it politely a negative reflector. So that way he could have improvements, possibly become to all the amazing things that he has created. And very honored to be here to talk today.
And let me tell you, she will tell me when something is not quite up to par. That's, believe it or not, one of the things I really do appreciate, where my butt does get sore occasionally from that. It's information I need to hear. I have too many people around me that will just take my products. They will use them. They will stick their nose as far up my rump as possible and tell me what a great job I'm doing. And that is
not helpful.
Necessarily, yeah, it's not helpful. It's not productive. If that's the case, awesome. I'm ecstatic when customers are happy. But if something is amiss, I need to know about it because that's the only way I can address the problem and move on to improve the products and improve my client's experience. So I thank you for that, Amy. As brutal as you are at times, it's definitely appreciated. So, but to give you guys a little bit of an insight, Amy has a very, in my world, in my perception, a very bizarre business plan. And and when I first learned of it years ago, I pretty much blatantly told her that it wouldn't work. And
Yep.
and not so much that it wouldn't work, that I didn't think it would work, and I didn't understand how it worked because Amy is kind of a 9-to-5er for like tattooing for the most part. Like not exactly, but yeah, she meets with clients, prospective clients or past clients. I think once a month she has a consultation day. Uh, yeah, and and at that point she books out her entire month or the following month. I don't know the specifics. I'll let her give you more insight onto that. But me being, mostly street shop with custom artists, just winging it and kind of living, I'll say check to check, week to week or whatever, for most of my career, I didn't realize that so many people planned in advance, and it blew me away. Just like I know some tattooers that are 9-to-5 and people take days off of work to go get tattooed, and that blows me away too. But I'll let Amy explain what she does because nobody can tell you that story better. But it's pretty impressive, and you can always reach out to Amy, I'm sure, because she loves to mentor and teach. And when the world has conventions, she does seminars, and she likes to share. So take it away, Amy. Tell these folks how you conduct your business.
Hello, everybody. Back in 2012 was when I worked for my last shop. I originally started in this business in 1997, and I have had the fortune of working in, I want to say, about 12 shops over the years. And most of the time I was pushed to run the front because I'm really good at running administrative items and the front of the house, managing that sort of world. It's very natural to me. Being a successful, or as you politely say, a decent tattooer, that was very hard. That was not natural to me to ascertain how to do the skill set itself. But gratefully, all these years later, I've been able to attain that. In 2012, when I left the last shop, I was already about 2 months out on appointments, and I no longer wanted to try to infiltrate another shop's style and how they chose to do things. And if they were comfortable, I was done trying to introduce something new. and went ahead and got my own tiny 900 square foot location, and quickly realized there was not a good balance between when I could consult with clients or when I could get them in. And one of my friends I had not seen in about a decade came in, and I told her, I'll do my best to get to your drawing as quickly as I can, but it's probably like 3 months from now. And when I get there, I'll let you know and we'll book. And she says, how about this? Just book an appointment for 3 months from now and have the drawing ready by then. I said, okay. So that started that part of the thing where I was booking out in advance, trying to make sure the larger drawings took time to get done. Then clients would come in, want a consult. It was just chaotic. My husband was tired of me staying up, getting up early, staying up late to get to everything. And he is extraordinarily organized in his mind. He's very militant. He's military. So he had a really good way of problem solving how we could fix this. So we started consultation day. It began as 1 day a week. It was every Thursday a week at the time. And then we started traveling. Well, as you guys know, when we travel, we leave on Thursday, we get home on Monday. So then I wasn't there every Thursday. So then it moved to the first Thursday of the month, and then we started having more guest artists. Well, then the guest artists didn't have time to get their drawings done. So then it moved to the first Wednesday of the month. It's been the first Wednesday of the month ever since, for 8 years now. And we only meet clients then. If an artist is in shop and a client can get in sooner, we do facilitate that. But 85, 90% of the time, it's just best for the client to come in on consult day. And so the whole shop works in that manner. I have taught this method to many tattooers, and I can pretty damn sure say if another shop is doing this model, it came from me, or they learned it from me, or they learned it from somebody who worked with me. And I'm grateful for it, because what it does for all these shops is it gives them boundaries as to when clients can come in. It allows them to stay focused on their work when the client's in the chair. It prevents the chaos of the rigmarole of the shop all the time. Things just calm down. It allows the artist to plan out their tattoos. It just, in my opinion, it provides a much more peaceful way of working. And it can be applied to any. I have friends of mine who they do it once every 3 months. I have friends who do it once a year. I have friends who do it only through email. I have friends who their shop is a private studio somewhere hard to find, so they'll go and meet their clients at a coffee shop. Like, they've adapted the model, but regardless, it is still stick to the system because the system works. And so, yeah, that's where we've done it today, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody, for sure. It's a very unique model, but it's an awesome option for people that can utilize it. Because I mean, if you got a busy street shop, you can't go down that road. You maybe with your custom work, but for I see more and more private studios popping up everywhere, or you see artists that have become successful working in shops, and they want a private or semi-private studio, or you see a lot of co-ops going on nowadays. And
That's what we have.
yeah, and that's and again, that's the kind of the thing, as a shop owner, kind of frown on a co-op, because, well, I don't understand the business model. But if I was still tattooing all day every day, I may be interested in being involved in a co-op. So it's just a different mindset, having the ability to adapt. We had a little discussion about adapting before we started recording here. And if you want to be successful in anything, you need to learn how to adapt and move forward with the situation you're in, regardless as to whether you like it or not. I kind of told Amy that this wasn't going to work. And Amy, being the person that she is, probably made it work just to spite me.
Not to spite you, but the answer being told no is certainly a fuel.
And I'm the same way. We both know that. And you're definitely of the artist mindset. And Josh, I know, handles an awful lot of the business and the balancing the organization and all that other fun stuff. So you two play out very well off each other. Josh thinks more like I do. Everything's got to be logical. It's got to fit in a box. It's and they've got to be in order. And where I have the artistic mindset, I have the other mindset too, but I can't be in both at the same time. It's
right.
impossible. So it's cool that you guys, balance each other out and play different roles in the business. Okay, so now you precisely Veiled is inside Bangaroo.
Yeah. Bangarang. Bangarang.
Bangarang. I'm sorry.
Let me explain the co-op, because I've been in, this is my third location. I've always wanted to own a commercial building, because working and renting under somebody else, they had the option to not take care of the building. They didn't have to really pull up on, what they said the contract would say. Like, there were so many things that just were not advantageous. And then the risk of the rent going up and us not being able to control that. There was just too many variables that I wasn't pleased with. So I listened to a lot of very wealthy, wise people such as yourself. I will give you that little tap, because it's 100% getting advice from you, is how to buy a commercial building, when to do it, all that stuff. So December 2019, we were finally able to do it. And under my last lease, we were not allowed to subcontract to the independent contractors. So all the artists were still underneath my health department license, my insurance, everything fell on me. So if anything negative happened, if any issues happened, I was the one who had to take the fall. And that's a lot of weight to bear when you have to hopefully be able to be, I guess you have to hope that others will care about you the way you care about them, which isn't always the case. So what it taught us is that, what can we do about it to make it better so that it's safe for everybody? And the co-op was the answer. Doctors do it, therapists, psychologists, dentists, hair salons, nail salons, all of them have this similar model. It's just, in tattooers, it's still brand new. So I started researching more about it. My husband started researching more about it as well. And it's wonderful. So Precisely Veiled is still now 100% my business, nobody else. I don't have any employees, nothing, just me by myself. That one I started in 2013. Precisely Veiled is located inside of Bangarang Tattooing Company, which I also own, but it's a separate LLC. Bangarang rents the building from us because we own it. So Bangarang,
you better tell me you own that building under its own separate LLC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have that owned, and then you rent it to that one that is owned, and then it rents to the individual businesses, including our tattoo museum, which is the first Texas tattoo museum. We verified it with our elders. It's not totally open yet, but it is getting there. Josh is still curating all of that, and when that's officially open, it'll happen. So the other artists that are with us each have their own either LLC or DBA, their own health department license, and their own lease agreement. And the whole point of lease agreement, it's just a basic one. It's nothing major. It's the exact same thing if you rented any building from another landlord. What it does is, should artist A mess up, health department catches them doing something, list goes on. Artist A no longer can take down the whole ship, only their own. But then the other kind of cool part is, because artists B, C, D, E, and F all have their own health department license, artist A can continue working and not have any trouble under the other ones until they take care of whatever the issue was. So it allows for everyone to continue working on without stopping. The other side of it, the return case for them, is the lease holds me as the building owner responsible to ensure that the building is in good working order at all times. If because I worked in shops where electric wasn't paid, water wasn't paid, rent wasn't paid. I mean, for all past shops that I've worked at, and I've experienced it all, and it was not fun when nobody could work due to the negligence of the owner. So it's a cyclical protection. And in any case, let's say like an artist comes in and they're like, oh, I have to move suddenly, my family member's sick and whatever. It's like, cool, rip up the contract, go. I think, you did right by me. We communicated, you're done. And then people say, well, you're just doing this to sue us. I'm like, no, not at all. Have you ever been to small claims court? It's a pain in the ass. It's a waste of time. Like it is, the lease agreement is purely so that I could get future loans should we ever need a larger building, because the bank taught me that I did not have the paper trail that I should need, because the independent contractors did not sign a lease agreement prior. So I was missing that. And the insurance company also needed it to show the other businesses that were in the building. So by purchasing the building, I learned a lot of that, the legal side of stuff that I would have never been exposed to otherwise. So when people are willing to get past the word contract and stop freaking out and listen to what it actually gains them, it gains them a lot more legal protection. It really, really, really does.
Right, and there's a lot of games now. Given the co-op works awesome too, but then there's on the flip side of that, there's a lot of tattooers that are finding themselves being forced into employees versus independent contractors, and there's
Yes,
advantages to that too. It's a case by case scenario, may depend on your local laws, state laws,
correct.
or your personal interests and goals and how you want to approach that. But you just got to understand that there's options and by running a legitimate business rather than being the pirates that we all think we want to be, you can find out later in life that there's not a whole lot of, there's not a great future in
Nope.
that unless you want to be an outlaw. And then, hey, cool, go do your thing. But
Make sure
uh,
you save up your money because you're going to need it in the future.
well, a lot of us we want to be taken seriously as professionals. We don't want to act like, or I won't say we, but people want to be taken seriously as a professional, but they do not want to act like an adult in the very same sentence, and
Mhm.
and that's a huge problem.
Well, another way to even expand it is they don't want to do the efforts necessary to attain the sentence that they wish that they lived.
Mhm.
So
Well,
that,
just
yeah,
like people that ask you for advice and then ignore every word you tell them. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
it's just fruitless, And I tell people all the time, and I love having these conversations and talking to people and sharing my life's experience and my advice with them, as long as they're listening. If they're listening and they don't have to follow my advice, but if you're going to ask, you should at least listen and consider it. And
Mhm.
if it doesn't work for you and you found better advice, awesome. I don't have a problem with that. But when it falls on deaf ears, I just get irritated beyond.
Yeah,
And
because
those
it
type
almost
of
feels like you
scenarios.
wasted your time a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot of free time.
Mm-mm.
I really do not. But I'm excited to see that you have everything set up in separate LLCs. Now you have three tiers of protective veils, four tiers of protective veils, protecting you and your family, Josh and Darby. I mean,
Yep,
that is awesome. So something happens in your chair, even if you are directly at fault,
yep.
it's covered. Precisely Veil has a LLC and an insurance policy
Mhm.
that is covered.
Yep.
Only once that policy is absolutely maxed out and tapped out in any sort of a lawsuit type of environment, which isn't going to happen. But and at that point, then Bangarang is the next one up the tier to
Correct.
get sued. And when their insurance policy gets capped,
Mhm.
then the LLC that holds the property and so on and so forth. That is awesome. A bunch of additional expense, a huge learning curve, but you have properly protected yourself and your family and your business. I know a few other people that could definitely have had that in place during past experiences. I've seen people that were sitting pretty damn good and find themselves pretty much basically living in a van down by the
Absolutely.
river,
Right.
and for no reason other than they didn't want to spend a few $100 here or a few $100 there.
Well, I always say it's a bill that I pay that I hope that I never have to even use. I hope that I continue to give them the money and I never ever need it.
Yeah,
Like that's the point is it's an insurance. It's a safety net for the God forbids. And the whole point of like you want that to be your extreme emergency fail safe. Like we always still run the business in the manner that we care so deeply about all the clients and they know it that we go way above and beyond to ensure that it doesn't even get past a phone call of somebody being upset. Like it generally doesn't get to that point. But I have experienced where clients that were not mine came to me infuriated for very righteous reasons and they had every right to feel the way they did and it taught me a lot.
right. But
That's what it is. All these situations they teach you so much.
yeah, but I mean, you run your business like an adult, and all the policies you put in place are they there to protect your clients as well as yourself. I mean,
Mhm.
that's why you have multiple insurance
Yep.
policies because it's just being a grown up, and for folks like you and I, it kind of comes natural, and it definitely starts to come to the forefront of your mind once you gain any level of success because. We live in a world where people are quite happy to pick up the phone and call a lawyer over nothing or
Mhm.
next to nothing because it's much easier for people to just sort of settle than it is to take a stand. It's ridiculous, if you ask me, but it's the world we live in, and we need to adapt and move on. And cool. I'm glad things are going well for you.
I have another thought, because you're saying on that the console day wouldn't necessarily work for walk-in shops. Due to all the COVID stuff, though, the walk-in shops had to seriously adapt to a different method that could facilitate them still doing the banker tattoos, the in and out pieces, because that was their bread and butter. That's how they survived. And I had to give Tahiti Gil, a full-on heads up, like a hurrah for him. He's always 3 years ahead. We always say he's amazing. He's actually here guesting this week. He created a digital sign-in option for clients to either call into or go onto their app, so that they could book appointments with the artists and mids when they were allowed to open and when they weren't, in between those situations, as a walk-in shop, as a 71-year-old shop. And so there's nothing stopping any of them from adapting a version that works for them. And they don't personally have a consult day, but they do have artists in the shop that are appointment only. And so I have to simply give a giant hurrah to every single shop that I saw doing something that would continue them carrying on. They didn't just roll up and fall out. And because it was extremely sad to see the ones that weren't able to get around those curbs, and how many shops did have to submit to making decisions that were best for them and their family. And I can't blame them for making those decisions, but it was really, I guess, relieving to see the ones that got through.
Yeah, no, it's heartbreaking to see a lot of these places fold, and a lot of people, it was completely out of their control. Their local jurisdictions or state jurisdictions gave them no choice, and that's really unfortunate. But I mean, I also see an awful lot of people that have options and choose to just dwell on the misery, complain, and preach about just going underground and breaking the law, and that does us no good as an industry, as a profession. So okay, great, flex and be tough, but you're hurting us all. It doesn't make much sense. But back to Gil, he is one smart cookie. I love
3 years ahead at all times.
Yeah, I love that man, and I don't know where he finds time to do everything he does. I would love to do this with him sometime, but he won't get on camera. I know he won't.
He will, if you allow him to do like this the whole time. He'll be okay if that can be permitted, or if there could be some kind of filter, he will. He's coming out of his shell. He actually just started a YouTube channel.
What?
And yes,
awesome.
Yes, he did. I think it's oh gosh, for anybody who's listening, I think it's Tahiti Gil Trading, or it's just Tahiti Gil. He's starting to document a lot of the stuff from the shop, because the shop in San Diego, it's Tahiti Felix Masters Tattooing, and it's on down in the Gas Lab District. It is 71 years old, and they're trying desperately to keep that thing open and keep it alive. Hero is the current elder. He is I hope I don't mess this up. He's Gil's sister's husband's brother, who is the son of Tahiti Felix. So Tahiti Hero is still living. So is Gil's sister, and Gil is the current owner and heir of the Masters family. So he's the caretaker to all those museum pieces, which we are adopting. So we have began the move of a lot of the historical items, because Hero sold the old house and it had so much buried in the garage and in that sort of thing. And we are, Josh and Brandon and myself, we took turns driving all the way up to California, get as much as we could, drive it all the way back here, go through it, document it. There was stuff in there from the 30s. There is stuff we don't even know how Felix even got it, but we have it, and we're doing our best to put together the stories. We had Shanghai Kate in here. She's down in Austin. She did good during the storm. You have to talk to her, because she'll love to talk to you. She went through a bunch of it from what she can remember, and just trying to put together the pieces so that when we do display the stories, it has the truth that it came from the last person who has the memory of that story. So that way it's passed on. So yeah, so
that is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, love Gil. Enough about him. This
Okay,
is
sorry.
about you.
Sorry.
No. It's awesome, and we'll touch back on this once the museum is open.
Okay.
We'll let you do a little walkthrough. We'll do all that. We'll try and get Gil or half his face on camera if at all possible, because he has a wealth of knowledge and he's an amazing guy.
Yes.
But back to Amy right now. Okay.
Okay.
Give us a little bit about your history. What year did you start tattooing? When did you get in? Where did you get in? Mentors, all that kinds of fun stuff. Your art history, blah, blah, blah. Tell us about you and what you do and enjoy doing.
I'll have to shorten it because it's a long story. And we'll keep it to the most of the good stuff because, like you said, all the bad taught me a lot, but that's okay. I'm from Port Isabel, Texas, which is right next to South Padre Island. And if anybody's been there, there's almost nothing there. It's 5 miles long of an island, and that's about it. It's a lot of fishermen. My dad's a fisherman. My mom's a real estate agent. Divorced a long time ago. I've been an entrepreneur mindset since as long as I can remember. Ran my dad's marina. Used to make bracelets to sell at school. Like, I've always been that person. Top Girl Scout, seller, all that sort of stuff. And I learned how to make money really early, and I liked being able to buy video games and candy. So I've always had a job. From there, I couldn't focus in school, and a lot of us couldn't. And so I would doodle on the side of my paper and just started getting more into art that way, trying to understand art because I enjoyed it, but I wasn't very good at it. And the doodling is what kept me as a AB student through school, all the way through college. That was something I had to do. The reason that's important is back in 1997, I was fired from a jewelry store job that I worked at because the guy didn't pay me the right amount the one day. Ed was his name. And it was off by $35, I remember. And I would tally up what I had made. And we did hair wraps and hemp jewelry and macrame and all that sort of stuff. Well, then I told him, I was like, hey, the pay was off. And he got really pissed off, fired me. I didn't understand why. My mom was like, okay, I'll come get you. And the only places hiring was the tattoo shop and one of the other t-shirt shops. So I went into the tattoo shop. They sort of had me running the counter in the very beginning, a little bit, sort of maybe doing hair wraps because it was mostly about tourists and everything. Henna was a really big deal. This was 1997. The Madonna Ray of Light video had come out, and they discovered that I could draw. So Sandy Henna was her name. She taught me how to do henna. I was really good at the symmetry. And I made a buttload of money doing that. And I put it all away in my account so I could help pay for college. And that was the beginning, was henna in 1997. So then fast forward, I always tried to learn how to tattoo or tried to get a mentor. It didn't work out most times because there's various reasons. But I ended up running the front more than anything. I moved to New Jersey. I moved to Central Texas to kind of just get away after my first year of college. And I got a sort of mentorship by John Gross. He was officially my first who would say he would teach me. Well, then he got hired in at second to none. And again, I was back to mostly the front, wasn't really being taught a whole lot. Not his fault. It's just the shop was busy and they needed somebody to run it. And so that I was good at getting the artists scheduled and getting everybody's times in. And it is what it is. Fast forward, that was 2001. 2005, we moved to New Jersey, and that was when I officially first tattooed. Fast forward through all of it, I kind of mostly ended up teaching myself. I was trying to get in shops. I was not any good. At the time, I was already graduated from college, so I was a teacher for a little while. I was a union electrician for a little while, still trying to get in the tattoo world, still trying to figure it out. And then in 2011, we had our son, Darby, and Josh was no longer wanting to live in New Jersey. We were there from 2005 to 2012. The economy had gone to crap in 2008. It wasn't, it was so expensive to live there, still is. Everything was just not going well. Jobs weren't there, et cetera. Moved back to Texas, and it was either go to Padre, where I'm from, or come to Killeen, where we knew the military base was. We knew we could make a good living because we knew the military, we knew it would work out well. And so we came back here, worked at my buddy's shop for 11 months. And he had a girlfriend at the time that things went really sour. We're good now. We're great friends now. Everything's good and wonderful years later. But in 2013 was the official time when I opened my own shop and grew it all to here we are. So I feel like I didn't say anything and I said a whole lot. I don't know. I'm sorry. Did I say anything?
It was a lot condensed into
Okay.
one breath. You pretty much did it all in one breath, which is all right. But no, I mean, okay, it's not much different than almost any other tattooer's
big
starting
difference,
story, really, because it's like we all everybody started with rough patches and had to move or chose to move, or I mean, it's the same story with a different artist. It's kind of like that. Now, the shocking part about that story is it took you 7 years to realize that Jersey sucked. I mean,
we knew it did, but he was finishing his pipe fitters apprenticeship, and I was on my 4th year of electrical apprenticeship, and we knew Jersey was a problem, but it's not that it took, I guess, it took that long, but we knew we couldn't survive. We couldn't get past just surviving. Like, you couldn't make a savings. You couldn't make a real life. And at the time, I thought I was financially wise. No, I was very stupid. The 2 things real quick that I say to a lot of my clients when they ask all this past stuff. For the first 16 years of my career, I was angry because I thought that I was not being given the opportunity to learn how to tattoo. Many reasons. One, being female, and I hate that that's part of it, but it is. For not being in good environments, for not knowing the right people, for just, it wasn't in my cards at the time. And I was angry for a long time about that. Because then I would see other people who on their first year they're in and they're amazing and they're flourishing and they're doing these great things. And I'm happy for them, but jealousy was there. Because I was like, why did that happen to me? Why was it so hard? Well, then I started listening to Dave Ramsey in 2017, whether you like him or hate him or whatever. He's a financial guru on YouTube. And because I was trying to learn about entrepreneurship, leadership, those kinds of things, teach myself more about what I didn't know. And he came on one of the things, and I just started listening to him and all of his stuff. And it just made me mind blowing. It was correct that I wasn't given a true good time at apprenticeship. And it's not even John Gross's fault or Chris Bailey's fault or any of my Jack Clark. It's none of the people that were, mentoring me. It's none of their faults. What I was given was a amazing business apprenticeship. I was given 16 years of running shops and learning what was good, what was bad, what didn't work, why it didn't work, working with hundreds of artists, if not thousands, to see the different personalities and what worked and what didn't. And then now learning the financial side of what I was missing and how I'm able to apply that to make myself truly successful. And I always think back, man, if I had had that knowledge 5 years ago, if I had had that knowledge 10 years ago, what a difference it would make. But that wasn't the way my story was written.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, at least you finally recognized the fact that you were presented with an amazing opportunity. It may not have been the opportunity you were looking for.
Bingo.
But you were given an amazing opportunity, which it's obviously working. It's making a huge difference in what you're doing now, which is like, I firmly believe in the, I can't remember the exact quote or whatever, but basically when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So all this time you were unknowingly gathering all this knowledge, and then you got to this one point, epiphany moment or whatever it is, where the pieces fit together and that just works. A lot of people will stay bitter. They'll stay angry.
Yes.
They won't recognize the opportunity that they've been giving. And a number of successful people I know are in all different businesses, and they are successful in an area on a path they never headed down, but it's the path that they were pulled or drawn to, and
that they couldn't escape.
And as soon as you recognize that, it's like the lights come on, and life gets easier. It's funny you mentioned Dave Ramsey because he's one of my financial mentors. And my other financial mentor is a polar opposite of Dave Ramsey.
Is it Poor
That's
Dad, Rich Dad?
no, it's Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, I was saying Poor Dad, Rich Dad. Yeah, I knew it.
It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You said it
Oh yeah,
backwards.
sorry.
Dumb Texans. But no, and Robert Kiyosaki believes in leveraging to the hilt for the most part, which is would kill Dave Ramsey to even consider, and vice versa. They neither one of those people could ever live in the other's world. Short brief story. I met Robert Kiyosaki years ago when I was living in the Phoenix area. I actually helped him film a short live series at Phoenix College years ago. I was part of the live audience and got to meet him and his wife and awesome people, nice people. I'm running off on a tangent, but it was I have my ideas about money stem from the both of them, and
Yes.
I have melded the two where I hate borrowing money. I hate owing money. I've never.
But you need the option to have it.
I've never had a business partner. I've never had investors. I've never had deep pockets to rely on. It's always been me. If it builds into something awesome, cool. If I burn it down, I'm the only guy getting hurt.
Yep.
I like that aspect, but at the same time, I now believe in borrowing money that makes me money. I believe in borrowing money as a tool. I do not like to borrow money for luxuries. I will borrow money for business in small quantities here and there, but I'll usually never borrow more than I could pay off if I had to at any given point in time. I believe in equity, having equity in everything. So I keep 2 credit cards. And that's it. A lot of people think I'm like, I don't know, rich and rolling around in the best of everything. And I don't live like that. I keep 1 high limit business credit card and I keep 1 high limit personal credit card. And I try and keep 0 balances on the both of them. I try and pay them off monthly. Some months it's not easy, but that's my goal. I don't do credit lines for the business. I don't borrow money for the business. I've had to a little bit here and there, but it's never anything extensive. Again, I'm kind of like taking
but it's
the
something that
here, but it's a similar business philosophy. But
it's something that I try to teach the tattooers because actually it's not a tangent. It's actually a really perfect one. What I've learned from this also, and what I teach everybody I can, is a lot of the tattooers don't track what they spend. And I mean their daily stuff. And so I even tell them, take your total, take everything that you need to live on your personal level. Keep your business one separate for just a minute. And I mean, include, if you get Starbucks every day, include that in your total. Have your monthly total of what it is to be you right now. Don't lie. And then have your rough business total, because asking a lot of people who don't know what their personal finances are certainly don't know what their business finances are. So give me a rough total of what it will cost to be you. It's easier for a year and divide it by 12. So then when you have those numbers, this number X is what you need to live your current life for this month. Okay. Well, assuming you're an appointment artist, because it's a little easier to facilitate, do your appointments for this next month, add up, subtract 30% for cancellations or reschedules. Does that number, that 70% total, cover and then some this number first with your business included? If it doesn't, you need to do one of 2 things. You need to get more appointments, or you need to budget yourself and stop spending as much. And then if it does over consume it and you're making way more than you actually need to survive or need to enjoy your life right there, what are you doing with that extra? Do you have consumer's debt? Do you have a car payment? Do you need to pay off medical? Do you have medical insurance? Do you have a retirement set up? Do you have savings set up, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And it gives them a data point projection on how to make the best decisions for their next month, and then on and then on. So that way they can actually be like, whoa, I don't need to make more appointments. I don't need to work 7 days a week. I thought I did, but I was stressing, but my numbers are actually really good. And I was like, exactly. So what you're saying is perfect because it gives them a comparison they've never thought to check.
Well, there's one other option that you missed, and I know we've discussed it in the past, so I'm kind of upset at you for not paying attention.
But I did.
But you missed the fact that they could raise their rates, and that is something that most tattooers are very reluctant to do. And
Myself
and and
included.
and at a minimum, at a bare minimum, your rates need to go up about 3% a year just to account for inflation, so you can live the same boring life you did last year without any gains. Too many tattooers, I mean, they love their clients, they don't want to put the burden on them. I mean, but guess what, the burden's on you then. And raising your rates on a regular basis
Mhm.
is kind of required. And I know I busted your ass about it quite a
Yeah.
bit over time. And the fear is that they're going to lose clients, and that is true. You're going to lose clients, but that frees up time in your schedule for people that will pay you more money. And nobody wants to lose clients or lose friends or whatever, but if you want to progress as a human and get to the end game, or maybe retire, or even just live a comfortable life, if you plan on tattooing until you fall apart, that's awesome too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, make some money, put some away in savings, invest some. There's so many other things that you could do. But yeah, that is a third option. People just either they're not aware of, or they just won't consider. And it's
Right.
shocking to me every single time. So, I mean, um, okay. Again, I'm bouncing all over the place here, but back to the whole co-op thing a little bit or whatever.
Okay.
So now each person's running their own independent business, essentially under Bangarang. And do you kind of get together and come up with ideas for hourly rates and stuff like this? Is each person 100% independent? Because I mean, I know you could end up with the scenario where some people are trying to, be a cheaper rate in an attempt to get a little more business or whatever. Does that become an issue in that type of environment, I guess, is my question.
It depends because in the past where I was running a sort of co-op type environment, you had artists who did want to go up in rate and wanted to, because their whole goal was to work less,
Mhm.
but they weren't facilitating the clients in the manner in which they should have. So when you aren't offering the better service option, it's, in my opinion, you don't deserve more. Like if you want to go up, you need to have all of your T's crossed. You need to be like the pristine model of what a business owner tattooer should be. The other side of it is if a tattooer is brand new to an area, but they're extremely experienced, they're trying to build the clientele. Our shop's so busy anyway that you're going to book out. So I'd rather them be at a fair rate to what is to the area. But if they came from somewhere, for example, New York or Cali, those areas charge a whole lot more because cost of living's a whole lot more. But if they're coming here, they'll, as we explained to them, you may feel like you're taking less from the clientele, but you leave with more in pocket because our booth rates are so low, cost of living is so low, et cetera, et cetera. We do have, by choice of each person, I facilitate monthly business meetings with each of them. If they would choose to not have a future one, they don't have to. It's not a requirement. All of the current team I've got really enjoy them because each meeting is 30 minutes long. It's once a month or once every couple of months. Like we had to cancel this one because of snowstorm, but it goes over client schedule, finances, and media. And I let them choose which one or multiple topics they want to go over. We look at their current numbers. We look at any current problems they might be facing. We look at any ideas that they're interested in. And in that, we also talk about rate. And I want everyone to at least be at, equal rate at some point. So the ones who are lesser than, once it's been over a year, once they have a decent schedule and they feel confident in it because it is their business, they do finally go up in rate. And it's generally 6 months out ahead. So they can pre-tell any clients that are that far out if they have that kind of schedule, or just plan on it at that time. So it's a long-term changeover. It's not so quick, but
Well, going up in rate doesn't need to be enormous either. I mean,
Right,
it can be
right,
a
right.
simple 5%, 7%, 10%. I mean, it's small increments done on a regular basis. You conditions your customers to expect them just like they're everything else in their life goes up every year. They're
Right,
not
right.
going to fight you on it.
Mhm.
Um, but it always dumbfounds me when people don't quite get that. And
Right.
when I was tattooing all day, every day, I kind of probably was the same way. But a friend of mine who went to Las Vegas and worked for the Robert Cormier Salon in Mandalay Bay, directly under Robert, basically, and ended up doing platform shows with Robert. And Robert had a CD series, um, awesome motivational, and he got me a copy of that as a multi back when we used CDs as a multi-disc set that I used to listen to on a regular basis, and it explained it to me, and it was like it's such a simple basic concept, but if you're not aware of it,
You don't
you know,
think about it.
yeah, I mean, if nobody ever presents you with the option, you're just going to keep going through life doing what you did the day before. It's like some of us don't mind change. In fact,
Mhm.
we kind of encourage it.
I love change. Change
Yeah,
means good stuff's coming.
I'll fight it all day long, but I do, I do enjoy it, but I'm reluctant to, I mean, if I can be disruptive with a new product, yes, or something like that. But like in my normal day-to-day business, I mean, it's always a little terrifying to make a big change. I mean,
Mhm.
I just purchased the adjacent building here to
Did
expand,
you?
and that's
Congratulations.
thank you, and that's a whole
Yeah.
other new huge responsibility.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, my footprint doubled, my mortgages doubled, my
Your
insurance
electric
doubled, my
double.
everything doubled, but my
Yep.
revenue is going to be the same for a while
Mhm.
until we grow into that. Now, I
Yeah.
would not have done that if it wasn't, kind of a necessity based on our needs,
Mhm.
but it's still a change that's, it's
It
going to be.
hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you just bought that building. I mean, it's
Mhm.
and congratulations on that too. I mean, I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in owning
Yes.
any building that you're doing business in for the reasons that you mentioned. I want to say, other than the first couple shops I leased,
Mhm.
um, probably since 19. Well, I bought the second building that I was leasing for my shop. So I eventually owned that one. But since then, Needlejig was based in one building I leased, and I got screwed royally in
Ugh.
that. I mean, the one time I kind of made that exception to my own rule, and yeah, it came back to bite me. So I love real estate too, though. So most people don't want to take on that responsibility, or they don't understand it,
Right.
and not everybody can go out and learn new things all the time. I mean, it's just, it's not feasible for many. But I do encourage anybody who has an interest to do it, or for those that know me, you can
What
you
was the
can
first
call me or
lesson?
ask me.
What was the first lesson? I don't know. What is the first big lesson that someone taught you about real estate or facilitating owning commercial real estate that you remember?
I'm going to say it was the second shop I leased, the one I eventually purchased. And that gentleman, his name was Larry Young.
Mhm.
And he will literally tell you, well, he passed a number of years ago, and unfortunately, but
Stop yelling.
he never had a real job ever in his entire life. He would have told you that he played grown-up Monopoly for a living. And I didn't get it. I mean, a Monopoly was one of my favorite games when I was a kid. I was pretty darn good at it,
Yeah.
and I just enjoyed it. Where a lot of people find it boring and mundane and long and drawn out or whatever. For me, it was a strategy game. So
Mhm.
it worked for me. But yes, he encouraged me from early on, me getting in the building and leasing it from him. The building was for sale or for lease when I first got in. And he helped me immensely get in and only lease part of the building to start with, and then expanded when I had the revenue to do
The
so.
capital to do it. Yeah.
And throughout the years, he when I did buy it, he he encouraged me to buy it, and he applied. He told me, I ended up buying it after his passing from his sons who inherited it, or one of his sons inherited it. But he put, he was willing to consider a good portion of the money I'd paid him throughout the years towards the purchase price. I mean, he was a good human all the way around. I've also the first individual I ever got up and spoke at his funeral.
Mhm.
That's how much I thought of this man. He was the
Yeah.
second father
Like
to
a
me. So I
yeah.
get a little teary
No, that's
here.
why I asked,
Um,
because this stuff's really important. A lot of people don't question where it all started, you
well,
know?
it's a
And you
matter
taught me
of
a lot.
finding these mentors or finding these opportunities, finding the good humans,
Yeah.
the people that I paid this guy a lot of money,
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent. It was a big shop, big, very busy, good, successful shop. And I paid him a lot of money, and he could have continued to do that. He never really gouged on the rent. It had to go up incrementally, but that was written in the lease when we first started because he was a businessman.
Right.
And it went up a certain percentage, roughly equivalent to inflation and things like that. It's just normal business agreement, which I found standoffish in the beginning because I didn't understand it. What do you mean my
Right.
rent's going to go up every month? I'm going to be a
Use-
loyal tenant. I'm going to be a
Yeah.
loyal tenant, take care of this place, pay you money every month, and you're going to penalize me?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it's like, and that's the way it looks when you don't
Yeah.
understand. But the fact is, all of our bills go up. Insurance goes up every year. Taxes go up every year. You name it. It's normal business. And until you understand that, it seems like the world's out to get you.
Right.
But
And it's
once,
not emotionally driven anything. It's
right,
simply in the fine print.
yeah, so I've met a few people throughout the years that have mentored me in different things. I mean, he mentored me more in real estate than anything, uh, but I would also call him. I could dial him up about financial information or whatever. And if he didn't have the information, he would share the number of another contact that would be willing to help me. And I was a small businessman, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I
He didn't
wasn't.
have to.
This guy had some commercial property that he leased to Sears when that was really still a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
he leased commercial warehouses to Sears, and huge square footage places, and he built up from a couple small properties, and he knew how to play that game, and that's the only game he ever played his whole life. I mean, he's a very lucky man, to never work for anybody, which,
Right.
but as a business owner, you never
Actually
never
are.
work for somebody. I work for my clients. You work for
Yes.
your clients.
Yep.
So I mean,
People think that
you're
being
never
your own
free.
boss, no, you work
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
Well, you should. If you're a good, successful leader in your environment, you work more for the people that are essentially paying you for the environment. That's that they've hired me in a sense. That's what, if you look at how Booth Rent is, you're not just renting the building, you're hiring me. You're hiring me as your media manager. You're hiring me as your clientele communicator, if possible. You're hiring me as your mentor. You're hiring me in every bit of knowledge that they have, in a way, that's part of it. So yeah,
but
no,
but
yeah.
you're willing to take on those jobs and those responsibilities, and you're also capable of doing that. Where a lot of shop owners, let's say, or um, just don't either have the interest, they're looking for the free money or the cheap money, or guess what, they might be a really talented artist and not understand the media aspects, or even the basic business aspects of paying your damn bills on time, or
Yes.
things like that. Just because you're a successful tattooer doesn't mean you're going to be a successful businessman, or
Correct.
vice versa. It's just you either have the skill sets, you don't have the skill sets, or you have the willingness to learn the skill sets. And you're busy as can be,
Mhm.
like myself, and you have to pick and choose where you're going to put your energy. And that's,
Yes.
knowing your limits and setting limits is huge.
Mhm.
So, who you've been in business for a while now, like, what are your best experiences now as far as like, mentors go, say for, finance or real estate or tattooing? Who are the people that you really do, look up to or know you can have on speed dial? And because that's a necessity for anybody that wants to be successful.
Oh my gosh, so many. You, obviously. Um, Gil's always got a really good um, decision-making process that isn't emotionally driven. Uh, Casey Dillinger. Casey Dillinger she usually disagrees with me, and it's wonderful because it helps me really break down my thoughts as to why I'm feeling the way I am and about whatever it is. And I can make a better decision as a result. Josh, my husband, of course, he's perpetually arguing with me. So I have to come at him with extreme evidence for what I need. Gosh, I have so many people that I actually can call. I feel like I'm a spot. As far as the commercial building stuff, my banker. I got fortunate after I went through about 5 or 6 different people. I found one, and his name's Kelly Brown. He's a local, absolutely wonderful human. Him and Jesse. I can call them on anything, and they'll give me their insight. My CPA, Larry Wright. Larry Templin. Forgive me. He will. I can send him anything taxes based, and he'll help explain it to me, help give me guidance. I have so many. When I watch, Gary Vee, obviously, I'm sure you know Gary Vee. He always says you need to have a mentor in every single facility of somebody that you can be like, hey, I don't know the answer to this question. I could Google it, but I don't even know if I'm going to find the right answer on the internet. Let me call somebody to verify that I need to keep looking in this direction further. Um, Goodness, yeah, Philip for the IT stuff, her husband Philip, he's incredible when it comes to the technology world, and he built our whole system and how to make sure it's all secure, and then what apps we should or shouldn't use and why, and what's going to be the safest environment. There's so many things that I mean, even when I'm sitting here listing them all, I'm like, I don't really think about it till I'm like, damn, okay. When it
It's
comes,
amazing the team
yeah,
you have acquired over the years.
yeah.
If somebody was to tell you early on
Mhm.
to take that on as a task and start to develop a team, would you have done so, do you think? Or because here's the thing, like I have some of my bankers that like, will hit me up and text me is like, hey, you want to grab lunch later? And things like that. So yeah, I have bankers, I have realtors, my accountant, my lawyers. Unfortunately, I have to have lawyers,
We do
plural.
too. We do
Yeah,
too.
pain in
Tattoo
the
artists.
balls, but but I mean, like developing this team, and that's not even just on that level, but just in almost every area around you.
Yeah.
Um, it's if you don't have those people, you're trying to play on your own as a one-man team, and it's physically draining and daunting and almost impossible. I something I understood a long time ago, like Henry Ford was not a very educated or schooled individual, but he was smart enough to understand his key to success was he surrounded himself with the best of the
People
best
smarter
in
than
every
him.
area he needed
Yeah.
people.
Yep.
And he was I can't think of the term I want to use, but he brought people together, groups like
Okay. Like think tank kind of things.
yeah, like there are certain I'm reading a book right now. The title even eludes me right now, but there's certain people on this planet that their names will come up often in a million discussions, and they introduce people. That's all they do. They're connectors,
Connectors. Yeah.
and they're connected in countless ways in countless areas, um, and their name will come up, and they're unbelievable amount of subjects. It's just absolutely insane. the book. Damn, I just had the title on top of my head here too. All right, but
Look up
but there's those people, and if you can identify those people, you don't go meet them and suck up to them or whatever, but you want to be aware of them, and because they're going to have a lot of answers, a lot of phone numbers, a lot of
one of the other
contacts.
things is that we don't think about it. I recently saw, because I'm always reading the forums and what people are going through, when I'm going through at night to see what's the current stuff's going on in our world, because there's not a whole lot of places to resource it right now because we can't go to conventions very much. More and more tattooers are opening their own shop, which is fine. I'm not upset about that, but they're doing it and everybody's like, yeah, congratulations, da, 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 da. And I'm like, nobody's warning them. Nobody's asking if they have their stuff in place. Like, I know these people in person and I don't know that they're ready. I don't know that they're not going to understand. So if they're a friend, I'll reach out and go, hey, just making sure that check this checklist first to make sure. And if they want to respond, and they'll go, oh yeah, I'm fine. And then I'll check on them in a month or so, and they'll go, why is there so much? Why? I didn't even know about this. Everything's delayed. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I was trying to warn you. I'm not saying don't open, but don't open before you realize you're ready. The reason I brought that up is I'll see that people talked to somebody who they feel is smarter than them, but the person who gave the advice wasn't at their mental level anymore. And I don't mean stupid or smart. What I mean is they'll ask somebody advice that is an entirely different league. So they're looking at opening a 1 or 2 person shop and they're talking to somebody who owns a baseball team. It's an entirely different league. So to have the person who owns something so big give information on something so small, they may be out of touch. And so they're not necessarily the correct mentor for that advice at that time.
Well, a lot of tattooers are reluctant to take advice from other owners or other previous owners or friends or whatever, because the reason they're opening their own shop is because they want to do it their way. Correct. They haven't been happy working for other people and the way other people run the show, and they have this perceived picture in their mind of their way of doing things. But if you don't have the practical experience, the odds are against you to start. So, and a lot of people don't want to hear that because then you're negative Nancy. I you know me, I give unsolicited advice, unfortunately.
Yeah, sometimes.
Same. And always with the best of intent. If I'm talking to you, I want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
It's that simple. If I'm giving you the advice, I'm trying to warn you of something. I'm trying to enlighten you, point something out, whatever that I don't think you're aware of, like you just said, or, but like too many people take it as like, oh yeah, I'm an ass. Well, yes, I can be an ass. We all know that. That's not a problem. But it comes down to helping those who want the help or ready for the help. The student is ready when the teacher appears. Not that I am the teacher, but in many areas I can be of
a good option. A really good option.
Assistance. I'm not going to have all your answers, but in many areas I can be of assistance. I did just remember the name of that book. It's called Tipping Point.
I think I've heard that one. Let me look it up.
Fernando, my graphic designer here, marketing director, he bought that for me for Christmas, and very interesting book. Tipping Point. It's about epidemics, basically. Really weird that I got that book at this point in time.
Right, and all
hard to get through the first few chapters because a lot of it is tied into sexually transmitted diseases and just stuff like that, believe it or not, because it's talking about epidemia and how things are controlled until they're not, and then they just explode. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot out of this from more or less like things going viral, marketing. There's things to be learned that are not necessarily.
Malcolm Gladwell.
What's that?
By Malcolm Gladwell, that one.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's a good book. But it's now taking something as repulsive as sexually transmitted diseases, and taking something that was like, it goes from something that's, a non-issue to all of a sudden explosive. You could consider today's scenario. It started off with a few cases off in the other side of the world, or here or there, or whatever. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't make a difference. It's out there now. But and all of a sudden, it concerns everybody. Or a viral video, or there's just so many things. But now they seem unrelated, but they all reached a tipping point. And so
I see where you're going.
I'm getting heavier into this book. I just want to throw the title out there if anybody wanted to look into it. But again, I'm off topic. I just ramble. But that's what I like about these videos, these interviews, these talks, because we're not going to sit here and talk about who's going to win the trophy at the end of the season, or the real conversations that other people might be able to take something from. We might answer a question somebody has. If somebody could take a little snippet from what we talk about and use it to better their life, then that's cool.
Well, you're probably used to it. I tend to be the outlier in every conversation. Every time that I see a common conversation going on, it's not that I intentionally choose to be the anti of whatever is conversing. You do the exact same thing. I just see things different, and I see a whole different perspective. And I'm like, hey, none of you thought of this. And it generally, after you put that comment up, nobody else comments below it. I'm like, well, all right, I killed that thread. Like,
I'm that guy. Like, it's my natural, it's because I have a bit of an engineer's mindset. I look at things and I have to try and find out what's wrong with them, because there's no way to make sure, there's no way to ensure something's going to work unless you looked at all the potential things that are going to keep it from working. And I offend some friends and artists or whatever when I bring these things up, and some people don't know how to take me, and that's just
I'm shocked when people stay my friend.
I mean, it just is what it is. It's what should we call that? Devil's advocate syndrome or something like that? I mean, and here's the thing: if you want to pick a topic, I can. If I'm knowledgeable on a topic, I'm happy to take the other side from you so we can have an intellectual discussion about it. Even though I may agree with you, if I know enough about the subject, I can argue the other point, and in a way find out how much you know about the subject, or or vice versa. Or guess what? If we dig deeper together, we'll both have knowledge on the subject.
And that's the thing, is my favorite thing is if somebody does actually choose to come to me with a problem. And I'm like, all right, let's do deductive reasoning first. Let's break down all the basic steps. Let's see if you've hit all of those notes, which most likely you have because you're smart, whoever it is. And then from there, let's see if you checked this. And once we've gone through all the basic stuff, then we can get deeper as to what the actual problem is. Because a lot of times when people are bringing, I got a good example. Another one, I had a guy, all right, Josh is leaving, say bye.
Bye, Josh.
Bye.
I had somebody reach out asking about media. And I said, well, it was a very vague question. I go, which platform would you like to begin with? And they came back with saying they had trouble with the owner in the shop they worked in, and they wanted more clientele that belonged to them. And I'm like, well, that's not media. That's a relation problem. That's an entirely different situation. Let me help go deeper into that, because I'll still facilitate assisting that. And then they stopped responding further, because then it went from what they were trying to present as their problem, and it was something entirely different. So a lot of times you'll see that people will come to you with a surface problem. There's just so much else that they need to change within themselves or grow within themselves, and that the surface problem is actually just a distraction.
As much as I'm loving this conversation, we are going on quite a long time here. I'm enjoying the crap out of this, and the two of us can talk for hours and hours. I think we should kind of try and wrap this one up. But what I want to do is come back and do this again, maybe as you get closer to opening the museum. And when you're getting closer to opening the museum, maybe we can take a little time between now and then and discuss sort of some of the specifics about starting a new business, or expanding a business, or the marketing aspect. Maybe we can make some side notes. I don't want to say a regular thing between us, but I honestly think that the two of us have a little something to offer, and we should be able to touch back a few times, and maybe with specific topics. What do you think? Does that sound like something you'd like to do?
Mark, I miss conventions and seminars so bad. I miss it. I've wanted a YouTube channel for years and I haven't done it. So yes, the answer is yes. I would love anything to do with that. Yes.
I can tell you, man, I was like, I don't necessarily want a YouTube channel. That's not my.
You
I'm
know
not
what I
looking.
mean? Like a
I'm
source.
not looking for a successful YouTube channel. What I'm looking to do is document some of my knowledge, share the knowledge of people that I know and respect, and just document some stuff, get it out there, because I'm getting to a point in life where I'm older and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. But the fact is, I'm doing well and I want to give back. That is my ultimate goal for all of this, is to be able to help some others. And that's all. There's no charge. There's no nothing. There's no, I don't get on here and try and push products or anything like that. I don't want to do that. I want to help people.
Needlejig.com.
And no, but I mean, like, here's the thing. I'm a firm believer that if I am helpful to others on a regular basis, it's going to come back one way or another anyways. And not that I need it, I mean, I'm doing okay.
The other way is if you help grow somebody else's personal sunshine, then they light up for somebody else.
Well, that's the thing. It's a pay it forward. It's a pay it forward thing. We were talking about snow removal earlier or whatever. It's like, I'm grateful because I live a decent distance away from my parents. I can't do their snow removal right now. I'm happy to pay somebody. Tammy, my office manager here, her husband does snow removal, and I'm happy to pay him to go down there and do that. But an old friend of mine from school lives across the road, and he's just does it when he gets up in the morning. He does his own. He does my parents, and he refuses to take my money. So, about once a year, I'll drop off a box of booze and restock the liquor cabinet or whatever. I'm truly grateful and appreciative of that. And he does it out of the goodness of his heart, for sure. But I do it in my neighborhood. Not that it's a neighborhood because it's remote community and it's all family. But I mean, like, I own a good sized tractor and I get up and I'm going to do my snow removal. Well, why not do the house across the street? Why not do my father-in-law's down the road or whatever? They're people are capable of doing their own, even whatever, but I'm out there. I'm already cold. I'm already in the snow. What the hell?
Might as well do it all.
Yeah, I got the time. I don't need to be here. I mean, I don't have somebody riding my ass about punching the clock. I don't, it doesn't hurt to try and be a good human. I wasn't always that way. I can blame my wife for these traits because I was definitely a shittier individual in my younger days, for sure. But you get older. I like to think we get wiser. You mentioned earlier about knowing more now than you know then, and I'm chuckling in the back of my head right now, laughing at you because I'm like, wow, I thought when I was your age the same thing. Wow, I'm so much wiser than I was, when I started. And now I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I'm so much wiser than I was at that point in time. And
that's the cool part. That's why
I'm still growing.
Learning, always learning.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I by no means know it all. I still call other people for answers all the time. And I'm not afraid to do so. And that's something people need to take away from this is it's okay to need help. But that's if you build a team around you, it can be other tattooers, if you hang around with other tattooers, you're going to get better as a tattooer. If you do paint night, you're going to become a better painter.
Diversify your portfolio. So diversify your mentor connections. Have people you never thought you would need to ensure that you are covered. And if you find a hole in your coverage, you need to find somebody to fill that spot. Always diversify your mentors.
Well, you can try and seek those people out, but I mean that almost seems like work. I like to well, and we know tattooers are lazy, and as humans we're lazy. But
Not all of them.
I
Not
mean,
all.
if you're here's the thing, you know as well as I do that if you're vigorously out there searching for something, the odds of seeing it are probably blocked.
Yeah.
It's like going out and looking for love. You know,
Mhm.
everybody in the world's going to tell you they found love when they weren't looking,
Expected.
and it probably blindsided them or whatever. It's kind of the same thing here. What I encourage people to do is open their eyes and just be aware of the opportunities around you.
Mhm.
That's simply it. And you don't need to embrace it. Be aware of it. And
I
and
got.
and if you're
I
good
can
to the
hang on
humans
to
around
that.
you, they'll be helpful for you.
Ask your clients. A lot of artists don't like
Yes.
talking to their clients. Ask your clients what they do. It's incredible the network you can create just by figuring out the occupations, the leadership roles that they're all in, the familiar roles that they know or that they're a part of. It's quite incredible just the conversations you can have with the people that you're permanently marking anyhow. You might as well leave it as a beautiful permanent mark, but then have a connection forever.
Yeah. But on top of that too, not just like for the business network and all this and that, the other thing, but how many people interact with their clients as to, hey, what could I do better? Because because that's what I do with, my sponsored artist, and not even just my sponsored artist, any customer.
Mhm.
I'm here in the office. As long as I'm in the building, I'll take the call. If somebody calls and wants to speak to me directly, no problem. As long as I'm in the building, I'm happy to do so. And a lot of people do that. They give the tattoo, they take the money. You're maybe happy to meet that electrician because they might get a deal at their work on their house and all of that, but they don't take that one little extra step as say, hey, am I doing a good job for you?
Yeah.
That's
Or even check on their healing alone, like at least that's something.
I mean, something I was impressed by years ago, and I hate to say it because I got to give credit to the piercers, because and I pierced for a long, long, long time. But we were cutting edge in the piercing and scarification and body modifications and doing suspensions and all that back in the late 90s. Had no choice. I was just a couple towns over from Steve Hayworth, great guy. But it was the piercers. This is back. Oh, wow. I'm going to be dating myself here. Okay. The shop had a designated pager. And no joke. The piercing care instructions had that pager number at the bottom, and you could page a piercer. One of them hand the pager around, and different nights people would take it, and they would take calls and at any hour to make sure that their clients were
Client was
happy.
taken care of. It's
Yeah, and
beautiful.
I was like,
It's beautiful.
I thought it was really weird at first. Like I don't want nobody ringing me at 3 a.m. because they have a little seepage or whatever. But guess what? That is important. And then and if you're taking good care of your clients, I mean, that is you can't go much farther than that. Don't give them your cell number or go to Google Voice. Get an extra number you can dial on your phone that comes in as an extra number or something like that. But
Right.
yeah, that is, if I was still tattooing, I think I would enlist that service, really.
All of the world has my number. Everybody, thousands of people have my cell phone number. It's on my Facebook, it's on my Instagram, it's on my Google, it's on my email, it's on my aftercare sheet, it's on my business card, it's on everything. And I constantly hear, well, people are going to message me whenever. Well, there's this thing right here where you make your phone silent and it goes quiet, and then you answer everybody in the morning. And so it's never a problem. You train your clientele when to communicate with you. And then the thing I often bring up is they go, well, I don't want them to have my number. I go, well, they have your Facebook and your Instagram and your email, don't they? All those things go to your phone also, don't they? It's the
And they
same.
have your address where you're at probably 40 to 60 hours a week,
Please tell me how, if they call you or text you versus an app, how is that any different? So it's kind of mind blowing to me that people still to this day are like, I don't want to have my cell phone number. I'm like, just stop. Let them give a chance to get a hold of you so that way they feel taken care of and you're good.
Well, and for the people that don't want to do that, take into the idea of maybe getting just a cheap
A burner phone.
A burner phone just for the whole shop. And guess what? You pull shifts, and some guy carries the phone on Mondays and Tuesdays, another guy carries it on Wednesdays and Thursdays, whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
it sounds ridiculous, but wow. I remember that because we were, we were a high-end internally threaded shop back in the day. And we were charging significantly more than the people around us. But I mean, my guys were so up to stuff on, everything
Awesome.
is, APP, yeah,
Every
just
single bell and whistle
beyond.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and constantly meeting with others. We had John Durante and so many other people coming down and doing guest spots at our place from like all the hot spots in Seattle and LA and whatever coming in, and it was incredible. But we were kind of on the cutting edge, and on the forefront. And I didn't really notice that until years later. For
You're
me, it was just
reflecting.
our
Yeah.
daily business. It's what we did. So, but to think that was something we were doing 25 years ago, I mean, wow, it hurts to say that, but those are tools
But you were that far ahead.
Tools people aren't utilizing now that we were doing 25 years ago. So maybe somebody will, hey, maybe I'll start a pager company. We'll bring that back.
I don't
think.
Work. Probably won't work. Text works just fine.
All right, Amy, it's a pleasure. We got to wrap this up. This has been going forever. But let's make it a point to get together on the side here and put together something with specifics, maybe about starting, expanding a new business, some marketing stuff like that, and we'll have something that we can both push and promote, and maybe get you started on your YouTube channel. What do you think?
I'm stoked on it. Yep, I'd be happy.
Yes, all right, sir. Kid.
Thank you.
All right, love you. Great to see
from
you.
Texas.
I even got to see Josh's handsome face for a minute before we started. But cool. I hope you're all safe and warm now. And anything you want to say? Anybody you want to reach out to before we go, or what?
What do I say? I don't know. Have a good day. Be nice to everybody. Make good decisions, and please give hugs to everyone. And everyone be safe. And I miss seeing everyone. And love you. And bye.
All right. You got to do the like, share, and subscribe thing.
Oh yeah. I got this down. All right. So you got to hit the like button because the algorithm doesn't help us out as much. And so you got to smash the like button and make sure you subscribe and share with all your friends, and make sure you share it on the other platforms, even though they don't let it show out because of, cancel culture. But anyway, make sure you comment below to help out, and that way more of your friends will see it. Thanks, guys.